parents, grab your loved ones, sit around the television, because after 237 days since tip-off, the NBA Finals have finally arrived. There is no more important topic in all of sports than the one that we are about to lead with. We hope that you are ready. It's time to celebrate what we have all been waiting for. For the sake of urgency, that's James Jones, that's Troy Taylor, that's Eagles' all-time rushing leader. They're very important. But, Shady, the question is this, because this is what everybody needs to know. Who's the most important player in the NBA Finals?
I'm going with Kyrie. It's that simple for me.
Let's go.
Right? If you look at the stuff that Kyrie's done in his career, right? We all talk about he got the championship with LeBron James coming back to beat the Warriors.
Yes, sir.
That don't happen if Kyrie is not playing at a high level, it's a high clip. Even though LeBron did what LeBron James did, Kyrie Irving made that thing go, right? And that last bucket over Steph Curry, 3-ball, game over. Let's fast forward to this season.
Yes, sir.
We love to talk about how great Luka is playing. He's playing phenomenal. But they don't do the things they're doing without Kyrie Irving. We've seen Luka take his team to the Western Conference Final with an average team. Let's be honest, right? Emerging Jalen Brunson, but overall, it was an okay team. He took his team to the Western Conference Final, but the difference is why they're moving so good and they're in the finals because Kyrie Irving. When Luka does his thing, you need your 1B. See, I'm done calling them co-stars and calling them 1-2. No, 1A and 1B. 1A can't do it without 1B. If you ask me who the most important, it's got to be Kyrie Irving.
I love it. That's how the heck you start a television show. Let me talk about 1A, the alpha. For me, it is Luka Doncic as the most important player. I think Luka is the only player in the game on any team that can throw a knockout blow. Luka's the only player on the basketball court who can end a game before the game begins. Remember what Luka Doncic did 2 years ago in the conference semis versus the Phoenix Suns. Y'all remember? If you don't, I'll remind you. Luka had scored 27 points in Game 7 versus the Suns. You got to have it to go to the Western Conference Finals. The Phoenix Suns collectively scored 27 points. In that must-win game for Devin Booker, Luka threw a jab that connected so potently that it knocked the Suns out before they even had a chance to catch their feet. Okay, cut to the Western Conference closeout game versus the Minnesota Timberwolves, if I am not mistaken. It is Game 5. Ant-Man is trying to put the team on his back. Karl Anthony Towns trying to put the team on his back. Luka Doncic had 20 first-quarter points. Minnesota Timberwolves had 19 first-quarter points. Before that game had even begun, before y'all sat down in your chairs and could say, hey, son, hey, daughter, come watch this, the Mavs had already put it away. To me, the most important player is the only player who can end a game before the game legitimately begins. That is Luka Doncic. I love Tatum. I love JB. I love so many other players playing in this game. I think Kristaps is not being talked about enough. Porzingis, we're talking about the revenge Kyrie Irving wants to have. What about the revenge that Kristaps wants to get? There's a lot here. This is going to be a fantastic series, one of the best series we've ever seen. But for me, Luka Doncic, Troy Taylor is the most important player. No wrong answers, though. What say you?
No wrong answers, and I looked at this question a little bit differently. I'm assuming that Kyrie Irving, who is already a champion, is going to come ready to play and perform. I'm assuming that Luka, someone that we think is the top of the league and potentially could take over that crown with a win in these finals, is going to perform well. Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, they've been here before. So I'm going a little off the board, but not too far, to Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday's defense is going to be a major factor.
Good answer.
What did you say was the most important, Shady?
Defense.
Kyrie. Well, this is going to be a challenge for Jrue Holiday. Maybe his biggest test since 2018 when he was on Damian Lillard and held him to 18.5 points per game and 35.2% shooting as New Orleans swept Portland. This is going to be a big challenge for him. Now, luckily, Jrue Holiday is a champion.
Yeah.
And
yes,
he is one of the best in the league defensively. Second team all-defense this season, fourth straight season on the all-defensive team, and sixth overall. And you remember...
And counting.
And counting. And, I mean, he's a pro's pro. He doesn't get talked about enough. He is really... he's essential to championship runs. Yeah. Go back to the NBA Finals Game 5 in 2021. You remember this well, being a Bucks fan. When he stripped Booker and sealed. Okay, so we have it. Great, so I don't have to narrate this play. I'm like, all right, now I'm really gonna get in my bag narrating this play. Okay, you all remember this. Suns are trailing by 1 with a chance to take the lead. 16.7 seconds remaining. Jrue rips the ball out of Booker's hands, advances it up court. Giannis dunks, and they take a 3-2.
I was about to say, didn't he close the series?
Yes. And he did it in the Pacers series as well. This is what Jrue does. So he's going to have a big challenge ahead of him. Obviously, Kyrie is a spectacular offensive player, one of the greatest that we've ever seen in the history of the sport. Yeah. But Jrue is also a spectacular player, one that we don't give as much attention to, but I think he is very, very important.
Let me piggyback on that. It's such a good answer. I really want to piggyback on it. Shady, you know Jrue. I know that family, just incredible people. Jrue Holiday, like Joy alluded to, versus the Pacers. It's 105-102. There's 6 seconds left. Yeah. The Pacers do not want to get swept. It would be the most embarrassing thing that could happen to that franchise after a beautiful season. They have to get an offensive board. They don't get it. I believe this play here is game 3. The Pacers got to go get a bucket. They're down by 1, and Jrue Holiday, he rips the dude. He says, no, I'm finna take your lunch. I need that. Family, there's nothing more that you could overstate. I'll lastly say this. I was listening to a quote from one of the greatest actors before I walked on the set, and he said, the difference between being great and being good is monumental. The difference between being a good player and a great player. The difference between being a champion and being an attendee is monumental. Jrue Holiday is a champion. You know this, James Jones, Shady, you know this. Y'all both won championships in the National Football League. It is hard to be a champion. Jrue Holiday is a champion. The difference between attending, which the Celtics have done, and winning, it's no small gap. It's everything. Joy, I think that's a beautifully said point. Holiday's a big player.
I love it because I kind of looked at it the same way Joy looked at it. It's going to come down to the Roy players. Luka had 2 triple-doubles, one 33-point triple-double, one 39-point triple-double against the Boston Celtics. Tatum had 40 and 35. Brown ball. Kyrie Irving ball. It's going to
in the regular season.
In the regular season. It is going to come down to the role players. Which role players is going to step up and make some plays? She said Jrue Holiday. I'm expecting the Mavs to win this series. I'm going P.J. Washington. P.J. Washington is the 3rd leading scorer on the Dallas Mavericks. If he can shoot the ball well, because they are going to double Kyrie at times, they are going to double Luka. If he can make his shots and put some pressure on the defense the way he's shooting the ball, I think he is going to be the most important piece. It is going to come down to the role players. Can White make shots for the Celtics? Can my man guard Kyrie? Can P.J. Washington knock down shots? The Dallas Mavericks were not a good basketball team before the trade deadline. And I know P.J. Washington is not the only person they traded for, but after the trade deadline, they became a really good basketball team, and he's a big part of that. If they are going to win this finals, he is going to have to be the scorer that he has been, the 3rd leading scorer, and make them wide open shots when he has a chance.
Phenomenal point, Shady. Let me ask you, you study basketball well. I think you played with Jrue Holiday this summer at the charity tournament.
25 points, yeah, that was, yeah.
25 points.
And his brother was there, too. Yeah, he was part of it. I would ask him, but he's busy. He's busy. I would ask him, but he's busy.
We need to cut those highlights. I want those at the end of the show for our viewers, please. Shady, James made a great point. So then whose bench do you like more? Whose role players do you not like more? Let me not go to the bench, but who's 3 through 7? Because only 7 to 8 players are going to play monumental minutes in the series. Well, you got Horford, you got Porzingis, you got Jrue.
I got the whole crew. I got you. I'm going to go with Boston. Right? Their rosters is better, right? They got some guys that can start on other teams. So, like, even the Horford, I think Horford, with him and Porzingis, 2 bigs, and of course, I'm sure they're going to split time, right? But when the time is one of them have to go to the bench, you got 2 bigs that can stretch the floor, right? And I always just think about, like, who has the better roster? On defense, they can switch on everything. From 1 to 5, they can guard. So if you ask me the role players and the bench, I got to go with the Celtics. But that's not everything, though, Acho.
Of course.
You talk about all the history I did from watching basketball. I do. When I'm bored, I go to YouTube, right? And I watch I was just watching the Magic versus the
Celtics?
No, the Houston Rockets, right? Because I just want to see how the Shaq do against the Dream.
Oh, back in the day, yep.
Yeah. So when I look at I was trying to compare Luka and Kyrie, and you always need stars. Now for like co-stars, when I watched the Houston Rockets, obviously they had the Dream. Hakeem was killing everybody, but people forget how Clyde Drexler was killing them. So when I look at this, you do need a role players to play well. You need guys to hit open jumpers. I get that. You need guys to, like Robert Horry to come in there, get some rebounds, hit an open 3. Yep. I understand that. But the co-stars, dog,
that's real.
If you just look at all the championships for all the big-time dudes like Bron and Kyrie, that had to happen, right? MJ and Pippen. MJ was always great, but he didn't get them championships. He had Pippen rolling, right? You look at Magic and Kareem. Like, you need 1 and 2 to really go to this. Jokic and Jamal Murray. I can keep doing this forever, though. So all I'm saying is Kyrie Irving, if he plays well and Luka's going to do what he's going to do, they're going to be ringing them things.
Here's the issue.
Paxsons, though.
Here's the issue, James Jones, as I'm about to transition is co-stars are great until co-stars want to become the lead. Then there might be a little bit of tension. Right now, you have the lead character with the Boston Celtics, many would say is Jayson Tatum. But James Jones, you said something last week that will lead me to the next question. But first, I want the whole world to hear what you had to say.
What I say, you know I'll be forgetting. It's Tatum, and it's not even close. Come on, he has to go out there and let the world know I'm the best player on the team. We talk about him going missing in big moments. He got to let the world know I'm the best player. The Boston Celtics are here because of me and been here the last years and them years because of me, too. He got to go out here and play ball.
I apologize in advance for this barbershop conversation that we are going to have, but it will be a very exciting conversation, so let me rescind my apology. James Jones, starting with you, Joy Taylor, quickly follow. What would be worse? Think about this, you at home watching. What would be worse? Jayson Tatum losing the NBA Finals, that's obviously bad, or winning, but Jaylen Brown's win Finals MVP, and now all of a sudden there's a seismic shift in who runs that team. What's worse for Jayson Tatum? Not for the Celtics. Obviously for the Celtics, you want to win. But for Jayson Tatum, who people are already starting to question his greatness, a barbershop conversation, family. Again, apologies in advance if you don't find it as fascinating as I do. But what would be worse, Tatum losing the Finals or Brown winning Finals MVP?
Man, I went back and forth with this question, man, because if you are the star on your team, you let the world know you're the star on your team, and it shouldn't even be questioned, no competition of who's going to get this Finals MVP. But you can never take a championship away from somebody. I don't care if he goes out here, because if he goes out here and average 30 and 10 like he did this last series, and they lose, right, we're going to be talking bad about him. If he goes out here and averages 30 and 10 and they win, he's a champion forever. That's something that you cannot take away from him. When you talk Tatum and you talk all NBA teams and you talk all this, my man is a champion. That's just something you cannot take away from him. So even if Brown does win MVP, that's all cool. But I am a champion. That's something you can't take away. We praise Peyton Manning, right?
Yes,
he wasn't really good in that Super Bowl or that season. He got 2 Super Bowls. He is a champion. You cannot take that away from him. I dropped a couple balls in the Super Bowl. You know what I tell people when you say, James Jones, hey, bro, I'm a champion. That's just something that you cannot take away from him. So, yes, the Finals MVP will be big because if he doesn't get it, it's letting people know you ain't like that. Yeah. This is the dude on the team. But at the end of the day, hey, my dog is the Finals MVP, but I'm a champion, homeboy, and I think that is a little bit better.
What's the anxiety level when you drop in the Super Bowl?
I remember it like
when you
I remember it like it was yesterday.
That hits a little different than a regular season drop.
Because my drop, I was gone. Like I was about to go 80.
Ugh.
And I dropped.
Oh yeah, we've showed that tape before. Sorry, James. Sorry, James. I mean, look, this is why it's a barbershop conversation. Is obviously not winning the championship is worse. Mm-hmm. Like you have a championship, no one can say anything to you. He's still Finals MVP or not going to be one of the best offensive players in the league. We're still going to think he's one of the best scorers in the league. We're still going to think he's a great player. His resume is still going to be a 5-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA. Like all of those things will still be there, even if he doesn't get a Finals MVP. From a narrative perspective, it will be part of the conversation because Jaylen has shown up in big moments. Because Jaylen is also a very great player, then we automatically put Jayson Tatum above him for, you know, the statistics and the numbers that he's earned. So from a narrative perspective, obviously it's going to be part of the conversation. I don't know that it's worse. Like, would you take someone saying that you're not as good as Jaylen Brown, but a championship? Obviously, you're going to take a championship every time. But it is going to be part of the conversation if he doesn't.
2-5, talk to me. You won 2 championships. You know what it takes. You know what it's like. What's worse?
I'm going to go, what's worse?
Yeah, like is it worse for Tatum to lose or is it worse for Tatum to win, but Brown wins Finals MVP?
Yeah, I mean, because my thing's like a champion, you can't take that away. I mean, I got 2 championships. I ain't sweat not one part of the game. You can't tell me I'm not a champion. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's got to be the other way around. I mean, plus we've seen great players that should have got Finals MVP and didn't get it, right? You look at Kareem. They gave it to Magic, but, I mean, if they're really watching, y'all know what's going on, right? And then you talk about Steph Curry. They gave it to Iguodala, and I love Iguodala, but LeBron was like averaging like 40, 30-some points. Right? Yeah, so it's like they can always mess that up, but you cannot take a championship away from a player.
Let me ask y'all this, not to play devil's advocate because the devil does not need an advocate, but to add some more context to the question. What infuriated me most in hosting the show prior to doing it with y'all, I would get into this one specific conversation. Who's better, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry? Y'all know I love Steph Curry. I love Steph Curry on the court. I probably love Steph Curry more off the court just for who he is, what he stands for. But the argument would always say they played together. And when they played together, Kevin Durant won Finals MVP.
Yeah.
And I would argue, well, Steph Curry allowed Kevin Durant to win Finals MVP by not being selfish, by dishing, et cetera, et cetera. I would fight tooth and nail to try to convince individuals that Steph was better. But Kevin Durant won Finals MVP, so Kevin Durant was better when they were on the same team. James, is there a fear for Tatum of that? Because the beautiful point that Shady made, Iggy's never in a conversation with Steph. Never in a conversation. Yes. Never in a conversation. But Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, they're starting to become a dialogue. Is there a fear of that?
Absolutely. And you just said it. Iguodala, Steph Curry, Iguodala, Kevin Durant is not the same person. Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, kind of the same. Really good scores, right? Win championships. These two dudes are really good players. And if we both are really good players with this basketball in our hand and we are elite scorers, and I'm supposed to be the best player on the team, and this dude won Eastern Conference MVP, and now he finna win Finals MVP,
don't look good.
That is very, very clear. I'm the one. Not him. I know everybody talking about him and all that, but I'm the one. That's what this says. So, Tatum, I ain't telling you to be selfish because it's about winning this thing. But you need to let the world know, man, I'm the one. Like, my co-partner is good. My Scottie Pippen is good and the Jaylen Brown. My Kyrie Irving, the LeBron James is good, but I'm the one. He has to show that.
I just hate this conversation because I see so many great players that have this same situation, right, and then end up bad, right? Like, you have to know your role. And I always thought that Jaylen Brown was better than Tatum, right, all around. If you're just talking about talent, yeah, Tatum's better. But as a complete player on offense and defense with dog in him, I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown. But the problem I'm talking about is we've seen this before happen. Look at Penny and Shaq, bro, right? Even before Penny started getting injured and all that, like, they had a tension of whose team it really was, right? Shaq and Kobe.
Correct.
Right? So it's like if you don't know the role and know where you fit in, where I fit in, and we can't do this together, it will not work.
But what is the role? Because, Shady, you think that Brown is better. To me, that's part of the problem. Because if people are telling Brown he's better, y'all know how it is. We all got friends who like, hey, you better than her.
I don't know that Brown plays that way, though. I think Brown plays within the role that it is Tatum's team. It's just that when he needs to step up, he does. I don't really look at them as a team that has that particular confidence.
They don't. I agree with you.
But then the problem is like the team make it as Tatum's team, right? Just look how the way they run their offense. Look the way they set the plays up, right? Even though the jumper he hit to send it to overtime against the Pacers, that play was for Tatum. They just guarded, and they went to the number 2. So it's like, I think the team makes it as Tatum's team, right? Soon it was an issue when they didn't win in a couple of playoffs where they were favorite. Let's break the team up. And the first big name was tossed around was not Tatum's. It was Jaylen Brown's. So the team makes it as it's Tatum's team, right?
What do you think they should do? Because I feel like what you're saying could be a part of the potential problem. Because if people like you who are very smart are saying, yo, it should be Brown's team.
So listen, like, I don't listen to nobody's opinion but mine.
Okay.
Right? Not no disrespect to y'all, I listen to y'all's, but, I like mine's better.
Of course.
And my thing is, like, I look at it. So if you really watch the way Jaylen Brown plays, we did watch them play the Pacers, and he was doing most of the scoring, because they both averaged 30. They're going to say that. But his 30 was more impactful. But anyway, he was giving you 30 on this side. Then on the other side, I got to guard the best player, who is Siakam. People forget that. You know how hard that is to do? Right? The energy, I got to go and score, and I got to play defense on the best player. So my thing is, when I look at, if I'm a teammate and I see this guy on my team, right, that's the number 2, but man, he's doing everything. He's scoring, he's playing defense, he's hustling, he's showing that attitude. Who would you want to be number 1? Or the other dude is flash, he can score at will, right? Some games he goes missing. Some games of playoffs he goes missing again. But he does play well at times, and he is a super scorer. You get what I'm saying?
1,000%. But, Joy, that's my worry. One of the most fascinating things I've ever heard about any NBA Finals was the 2004 NBA Finals, the Detroit Pistons. They were talking retroactively. Now, remember, the Lakers were in that Finals with Gary Payton. They were in it with Karl Malone. They were in it with, obviously, Kobe and Shaq. Now, Shaq had previously won 3 Finals MVPs. I don't believe Kobe had yet won a Finals MVP. And what the Pistons players said retroactively, I encourage y'all to watch the interview. Joy, Chauncey Billups said, we knew Kobe wanted one. We knew he wanted one. He said, so our game plan was simple. We're going to double Kobe. Make Kobe force himself the shots, knowing he wants to force the shots because he wants to win Finals MVP. So knowing Kobe's mentality was, Shaq got 3, I got to go get mine. We are going to make Kobe try to go get his. He's not going to be able to get his efficiently because we're going to put more pressure on him. And ultimately, y'all know what happened in that series. That's a large-scale upset. Now, maybe that was because of that. I love Chauncey Billups. I love the train of thought. I love Tayshaun Prince. So I listen to athletes when they speak. You're right, Joy. It's not an issue at all right now. There's no tension that I see between Brown and Tatum. I just wonder, to Shady's point, is there ever going to be a point?
But real quick, so that's a good point, because you asked, well, how do you know whose team it is? Well, the Lakers, right, front off, they thought it was Shaq's team. Big dude, throw it in there, most dominant. But Kobe didn't say it like that.
Right.
Yeah, and that's when he said, look, it's either him or me, man. What we going to do?
That's the thing.
And they say, you know what, he's younger, right? He's in his game. We're going to go with Kobe.
So do you think Brown sees this as Tatum's team?
That's a good question.
You know what?
That's a good question.
I think he does. But I do think that he's like, yo, it's my time, right? Because he talked about like little things about has I don't give a F attitude, right? And that could go different ways. Like, I don't care what nobody's saying, or it's like, yo, yeah, they say it's his team. Yeah, I'm gonna let my actions show. And his actions lately been showing as his team.
Yeah, I don't know that they.
But they play well together, though, so it's like you can't really.
Kobe's a bit of an outlier in a lot of ways. So I don't know that I see that kind of tension with this team.
I don't either.
I mean, who knows how things get, if it gets sticky during the series, but that's not been their reputation. It's not been what we've heard from them for all these years.
And they grew together, though.
Yeah.
Like, they both were young.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
They've been here before. They've been to the
Right.
Eastern Conference Finals many times. So I don't see the tension as that. This is more something that might spin off if they don't end up winning the finals, and there's a little bit of confusion about who should have taken the lead in certain moments. So it's too early, really, I think, to tell all those stories
Like they get
and those
down
narratives.
type thing.
Yeah, I think it's too soon.
I don't want to start no beef, but the competitor never leaves.
Yeah.
If we in this huddle once or twice and coach like, hey, we finna go through 7. Game on the line. Tatum, go. Hold on.
I don't think he's gonna do that. I don't think he has that in him. No. You think he got that in him to do that?
I think he got that in him.
When you watch him play, you in the big moment.
This dude is a superstar in the league.
Yeah.
When we talk Boston Celtics, we say 0 first.
But it sounds like you talking about the dog. Oh, you talking about which one you talking about? Tatum.
If they go through Tatum, if they go through Brown, what would Tatum
remember,
do?
just like you said.
If you go through Brown, you saying Tatum's gonna be. I don't think Tatum's gonna be tripping.
No, you just think he's just gonna sit back and like it's cool.
I mean, you watch him play. Do you think he'd be like? I'll say this in the most respectful way, because he's a talented brother.
Yeah.
When I watch Jaylen Brown play, I see the dog in him. I see the attitude. I see the. Do you see it?
1,000%.
Do you see?
1,000%.
When you watch Tatum, do you see the talent?
I would say Tatum. I would say Brown has more dog than Tatum.
doubt.
When I'm watching him play.
Yeah. So I mean,
But my thing is so basically what you telling me is he ain't even gonna trip if he don't get Finals MVP, because he don't really have.
I don't think you would notice it. You ever play with a guy that like stuff might get to him?
That's a good point.
I know, but you're not gonna notice it.
That's well said. That's well said.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.